So this is a migration portal. It is available on our website. It's migrationenterprisedb.com is how you get to it. It does require a EDB website password, but with that that user account and password, you can log in and you can use it yourself. It's simply, I'm going to create a new project, and it uses a you need to have basically the data definition language or the SQL file that defines the tables and such. You need to extract that from the Oracle database. I already did that. We have a tool called the EDB DDL extractor. I use that. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the file that I'd already generated for that purpose, and set some options here. I could describe this project if I like, and we'll just call it demo project. And then we'll just hit create and assess. So at this point, it's uploading that information into the database. It's analyzing it. This particular one, when we first created it, interestingly enough, it was in the version 13 days, and it had a few more incompatibilities in it. So right now we're 98% compatible with this. But with version 14, since with every new version of Advanced Server, we introduced new compatibility features, we've actually cleaned up some of those. So it's made my demo a little bit quicker here than I had in the past. Anyways, you can see the list of different object types in the system. I have one view that failed, but the sort of metrics that it's presenting is that you see the object that failed, the count of those, how many were repaired by the system. So we also, since there's certain Oracle constructs and syntax that isn't compatible with Postgres, and they're fairly easy to translate, we do that translation for you. And then there's a number of other object types that they passed as is without any issue. But let's look at this view. So you see the list of views. This plan commission view has what says here that the function map doesn't, the argument types aren't valid. We have a knowledge base so that we could see if that exists in there. And this round function actually. So you see the issue is that this is got a non-integer value, and this needs to be an integer. So the option is either to cast it as an integer, or just to, I guess we could have done this as well. Just create this an integer value there. And then I can reassess at this point. So now I've converted that object to something that is Postgres equivalent, and it should work. And you'll see that this thing is now 100% compatible. Not every schema is going to be 100%. What we see on average is in the 90%, 85 to 95%. Most schemas will come in and be somewhat compatible of that nature. There are a fair number that come over that are much higher than that, 98 to 100%. And then you will have some that are just going to be more challenging. But what we've seen is that with the combination of Oracle compatibility, Migration Portal's ability to do some of that automatic conversion for you, as well as giving you the tools to edit in place, we're able to get you to where you can convert your schema over. For the more challenging ones, that's where we recommend reaching out to experts like us, and we can help you through that sort of thing. At this point, we're ready to actually migrate this to a database. You have the option of migrating to on-premise, so many of you are doing that. That's either an existing on-premise database or a new one. If that case, what we would do is you could download the DDL from Migration Portal, and then you apply that yourself. The other option is just to use, say, one of our cloud databases, Big Animal. I'm going to do that for this demo. So I have my database that I actually had set up in Big Animal. I have my Big Animal interface here, and I need to get the host name from that. Give it some connection information. And then just to test that connection. So it said the connection was successful. And at this point, I'm going to hit next, and that'll apply that those changes to the database. And it says migration was successful. You can review a summary of that if you like. And maybe that's just worth doing real quick. And you can see that it migrated all these things: sequences, tables, constraints, and all of them were successful. And it gives you a little bit of information about the migration itself. So at this point, what we've done is move the structure, and we've also moved the code objects, the triggers, the functions, the procedures. All those have been moved over. We haven't moved the data yet. That's where I'm going to flip to command line interface at that point. And let's run migration toolkit. There we go. So it's a command. Basically, I'm going to move the data only, and I'm going to defer loading indexes and constraints to that option as well. So it moved 8 tables, and all the data was moved over. Let's compare that using live compare. So I run this live compare utility. And what it's going to do is compare the results that, what was in Oracle and the results in Postgres. And I'll just take a minute or so here to finish up. All right, and then it does produce some summary reports. And you can see that it had 25 rows in this first table, and the number of rows in each table, number that processed, and it found no differences. So we can, at this point, be confident that the data was moved successfully. At this point, we could also look at this database in a tool like pgadmin. And we see not seeing why. All right. There we go. There's my HR schema. And I have the tables. I can actually look at the data in there. So you can see the data has been moved. I also can see, inspect the code there, the packages. You have this employee actions package. You have the functions in there. So you can use pgadmin or PEM to actually review the contents of your database and then work with the database itself. So that rounds out my demo.